what's up you guys? It's Dorothy and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to go into part 5 of chapter 2 of The Mothers and Daughters of the Bible Speak by Shannon Bream. So let's get right into this video. This video is going to contain topics of the Bible and me speaking about the Bible. If you do not wish to continue, I suggest you click off the video now. You have been warned. We see mother and daughter conferring afterward and Ruth accepting Naomi's wise counsel of patience. When Ruth came to her mother-in-law, Naomi asked, "How did it go, my daughter?" Then she told her everything Boaz had done for her and added, "He gave me these 6 measures of barley, saying, 'Don't go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed.'" Then Naomi said, "Wait, my daughter, until you find out what happens, for the man will not rest until that matter is settled today." Ruth 3:16-18. It is such a human moment, the daughter excitedly relating everything that has happened and the mother saying, "Wait now, slow down, let's not get ahead of ourselves." In this short exchange, we can really see their relative ages and how completely they have become mother and daughter. Naomi, of course, was right. Boaz did settle the matter immediately. He took their private agreement of the threshing floor into the public space of the city gate. There he publicly proclaimed himself the protector of Naomi and Ruth by announcing that he would buy Naomi's husband's ancestral property from her. Here we see a little bit of Boaz, the clever businessman, too. Naomi had another kinsman, a relative closer than Boaz, and Boaz very generously offered this man the opportunity to buy the property. At first, the closer relative was eager to do so, but wait, Boaz said, "There's a catch." Then Boaz said, "On the day you buy the land from Naomi, you also inquire Ruth the Moabite, the dead man's widow, in order to maintain the name of the dead with his property." At this, the guardian redeemer said, "Then I cannot redeem it because I might endanger my own estate. You redeem it yourself. I cannot do it." Ruth 4:5-6. The full package, Boaz explained was that along with the land came the lovely Ruth, the Moabitess. That meant the purchaser of the land would also have to marry Ruth and allow his firstborn son by her to be counted the heir of her dead husband. So the line of Naomi's husband Elimelech would continue in Judah. I can picture the man's face as it all began to sink in. Oh, he hastily bowed out and let Boaz assume the responsibility. It's interesting not to note the reason the man says he cannot do it, Ruth 4:6, because he might endanger his own estate, meaning that if his children by Ruth were counted as grandsons of Elimelech, then they would inherit both his land and Elimelech's. The relative's own estate might get swallowed up in Elimelech's, and he did not want that to happen. Preserving the family name and lineage was paramount in those times, something men would have been highly motivated to do. And while we don't know that man's name, we do know all the names of all of Boaz and Ruth's descendants, including the most important one, Jesus himself. Even if in the short term Ruth's children were named for Elimelech, it was Boaz's righteousness and generosity and Ruth's courageous conversion and loyalty that left the legacy we still remember today. The story ends as it began with Naomi and Ruth. So Boaz took Ruth and she became his wife. When he made love to her, the Lord enabled her to conceive, and she gave birth to a son. The woman said to Naomi, "Praise be to the Lord, who this day has not left you without a guardian redeemer. May he become famous throughout Israel. He will renew your life and sustain you in your old age, for your daughter-in-law who loves you and who is better to you than 7 sons has given him birth." Then Naomi took the child in her arms and cared for him. The woman living there said, "Naomi has a son," and they named him Obed. He was the father of Jesse, the father of David. Ruth 4:13-17. It is possible to read the end of the book of Ruth and not feel tears of joy. It's truly a love story, though not solely in the conventional sense. It's a love of a young woman whose heart was devoted to her mother-in-law and whose mother-in-law cherished her as a true daughter. They tied their survival to each other and to God, watching how his provision unfold in the most unlikely way. I've always loved that in a society that prized sons in so many ways, the women of Bethlehem celebrated Ruth's worth as more than that of 7 sons. The foreigner, the woman, the convert, the adopted one, all the things that made Ruth an outsider wound up being the characteristics that made her extraordinary. One day, the little hamlet would become famous for being the birthplace of her great-grandson called the City of David. There are 2 things that we should note about this beautiful ending to the story of Ruth and Naomi. The first is the presence of faith. Naomi's from the beginning and then Ruth's by deliberate choice. It anchored their relationship and kept their eyes firmly on the God of Israel. the truest Redeemer. The gift of a son for Ruth was rightly ascribed as a gift from the Lord, and these blessings had their origin in God. The second thing to note is in Naomi's relationship to her precious grandson Obed. When the Bible tells us that Naomi took the child in her arms and cared for him, Ruth 4:16, that doesn't mean just that she did all the things a loving grandmother would do. Obed was the continuation of the line of Elimelech, something Naomi had probably feared was lost forever. Naomi had lost her husband and her 2 sons, but this newborn son provided what she may have given up long ago, a family legacy and a fresh hope. Ruth and Naomi's bond united them so profoundly, so powerfully, and so completely that the joys of one became the joys of the other. Love changes things, but the biggest thing it transforms is us. Ruth and Naomi were sustained through life's darkest hours by their devotion to each other. They were different people from distinct places and backgrounds, but their love united them on a fundamental level. Naomi has a son, proclaimed the woman of Bethlehem in joy, but we know God provided that miracle which would echo through the generations by first providing Naomi a treasured gift when she needed it most, a daughter. Lord God, our guardian, protector, and redeemer, we thank you for the gift of motherhood and daughterhood. We praise you for the mothers and daughters in our lives. May we notice all the ways you are always working to bring the miracle of love into our stories. Help us to love selflessly like Ruth and guide lovingly like Naomi. Remind us that our mothers and our daughters are not always related to us by blood, and that together we can support each other through all of life's challenges. May our love bring us the same unity of spirit and faith that Ruth and Naomi shared, and grant us the gift of one day of rejoicing with them in your heavenly kingdom. That is the end of chapter 2. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!